I am Dr. Celine Hilda Mary, Assistant Professor in Biochemistry, St. Joseph's College, Kadalur. Now I am going to present the topic on monoclonal antibody production and its applications. These are the contents: basic concepts and introduction, monoclonal antibodies, history and development, preparation of monoclonal antibodies and its applications. First we will see about the basic concepts. First, what are antibodies? Antibody is a protein used by immune system to identify and neutralize foreign objects like bacteria and viruses. Each antibody recognizes a specific antigen unique to its target. The high specificity of antibodies makes them an excellent tool for detecting and quantifying a broad array of targets like drugs to serum proteins and microorganisms. Antibodies can be used to precipitate soluble antigens, agglutinate cells, opsonize and kill bacteria with the assistance of complement and neutralize drugs, toxins and viruses. This slide shows the structure of antigen, that is the epitope. Epitope is a binding site present on the surface of the antigen to which the antibody is binds. A particular antigen may contains the several epitopes to which different antibodies can be bind. Next, production of the monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibodies are identical immunoglobulins derived from a single B cell clone. These antibodies recognize unique epitopes or binding sites present on a single antigen. But polyclonal antibodies are antibodies that are derived from different cell lines. They differ in amino acid sequences. Next we will see about the characters of monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibodies are single type of antibody that are identical and are directed against a specific epitope, that is antigenic determinant, and are produced by B cell clones of a single parent or a single hybridoma cell lines. A hybridoma cell line is formed by the fusion of one B cell lymphocytes with myeloma cell. Some myeloma cells synthesize single monoclonal antibodies naturally. This slide shows the difference between polyclonal antibodies and monoclonal antibodies. That is, polyclonal antibodies are produced from many B cell clones, but monoclonal antibodies are produced from a single B cell clone. In case of the polyclonal antibodies, multiple epitopes of all antigens used in the immunization, but in monoclonal antibodies, only a single epitope of a single antigen is used for the binding. In the class of antibody, a mixture of different antibody classes, that is isotypes, may be present in the polyclonal antibody, but all of a single antibody classes is present in the monoclonal antibodies. In antigen binding sites, a mixture of antibody with different antigen binding sites is present in polyclonal antibodies, but in monoclonal antibodies, all antibodies have the same antigen binding sites. In case of the potential for cross reactivity, polyclonal antibodies has the high reactivity, but monoclonal antibodies has the low. This slide shows the advantages of monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibodies are cheaper to develop than conventional drugs. Side effects can be treated and reduced by using human mice hybrid cells or by using fractions of antibodies. They can bind to specific diseased or damaged cells that require treatment. They can be used for the treatment of wide range of disease conditions. Next we will say about the disadvantages of monoclonal antibodies, which is a time consuming project. That is, the production of monoclonal antibody requires a minimum 6 to 9 months, and which is a very expensive and needs considerable effort to produce them. Small peptides and fragments may not be identified by using the monoclonal antibody, that is, they cannot recognize the original antigen. Hybridoma cell culture may be subject to contamination system is only well developed for limited animal and not for other animals. And next disadvantages is more than 99% of the cells do not survive during the fusion process. That is, the fusion process reduces the range of useful antibodies that can be produced against an antigen. It is possibility of generating immunogenicity. Next, we will see about the history and development of monoclonal antibodies. The history and development of monoclonal antibodies. Paul Ehrlich, at the beginning of 20th century, coined the term magic bullets for the monoclonal antibodies, and he postulated that if a compound could be made that selectively targets a disease-causing organism, then a toxin for that organism would be delivered along with the agent of selectivity. In the 1970s, the B-cell cancer multiple myeloma was known. It was understood that these cancerous B cells all are produce a single type of antibody, that is a paraprotein. In 1975, Kogler and Milstein provided the most outstanding proof of the clonal selection theory by fusion of normal and malignant cells hybridoma technology, for which they received Nobel Prize in 1984. In 1986, first monoclonal antibody was licensed by FDA, that is orthoclone OKT3, which is used for treatment of the kidney transplant rejection. Next, we will say about the preparation of monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibody production is done by the cell lines or clones obtained from the immunized animals with the substances to be studied. Cell lines are produced by fusing B cells from the immunized animals with myeloma cells. To produce the desired monoclonal antibodies, the cells must be grown in either of two ways, that is either in the in vivo method or in the in vitro method. In the in vivo method, the cell is injected into the peritoneal cavity, or by using the in vitro cell tissue culture. These are the steps involved in the production of the monoclonal antibodies. First, the mouse must be immunized with the specific antigen, and then the spleen cell is isolated from the immunized mouse. Next step is the fusion of spleen cells with myeloma cells by using the polyethylene glycol, and fourth step is the removal of unfused B cells. And next step, we have to remove the unused cells, and next step is the cloning of remaining cells, and seventh step is the screening of the supernatant of each clone for the presence of the desired antibody, and next one is the grow chosen clone of cells in tissue culture indefinitely. Last one is the harvest of the antibody from the culture. Approximately 1,000 to $200 cells are produced per mg. This slide shows the production of the monoclonal antibodies. In the first step, the rat or mouse is immunized with the specific antigen. From the immunized mouse, spleen cell is isolated. This spleen cell is combines with the myeloma cells, that is tumor cells. After the fusion, which produce the hybridoma cells, the hybridoma cells are grown in the hot medium in order to remove the unfused cells, and then the antibody produced in the hybridoma cell is cloned. After that, clonal expansion for the production of the desired monoclonal antibodies. This slide also shows the same procedure. Mouse is immunized with an antigen X, and mouse spleen produces plasma cells that secrete antibodies against the antigen, and then the myeloma cells unable to produce the antibodies or HDPRT are selected. Then mouse spleen is removed. Plasma cells from spleen is isolated and mixed with myeloma cells. cell fusion is induced to produce the hybridomas. After that, cells are transferred to hot medium in order to remove the unfused plasma cells, and unfused myeloma cells also died. And then hybridomas that produces antibodies specific to antigen X are selected and grown in bulk. These are the main steps involved in the production of the antibodies, that is monoclonal antibodies. Next I am going to explain about the applications of monoclonal antibodies. These are the major applications of monoclonal antibodies. That is, the monoclonal antibodies can be used in case of the diagnostic purpose, therapeutic purpose, and protein purification process. The diagnostic applications include the biochemical analysis and diagnostic imaging, and therapeutic applications include the direct use of monoclonal antibodies as therapeutic agents and monoclonal antibody as targeting agents. The monoclonal antibody also used for the protein purification. First, diagnostic purpose of the monoclonal antibody is used in case of the biochemical analysis, routinely used in radioimmunoassay and enzyme linked immunoabsorbent assay, that is in case of the ELISA in the laboratory. These assays measure the circulating concentrations of some hormones like insulin, human chronic gonadotrophic hormones, growth hormones, etc. And several other tissues and cell products can also be measured, like blood group antigens, blood clotting factors, interferons and interleukins can be measured. Example, in the pregnancy testing, the urinary levels of human chronic gonadotrophic hormones can be measured by using the monoclonal antibodies. Likewise, they can be used in case of the diagnostic purpose of the hormonal disorders, like which is used for the analysis of thyroxine and triiodothyronine. And a cancer cell can also be estimated by using the monoclonal antibodies, that is carcinoembryonic antigens in colorectal cancers, and prostate specific antigen for prostate cancer can be diagnosed. And next application is diagnostic imaging. Radio labeled monoclonal antibodies are used in the diagnostic imaging of disease, and this technique is referred to as immunoscintigraphy. The radioisotopes commonly used for labeling monoclonal antibodies are iodine-131 and technetium-99. These monoclonal antibodies localize at a specific site, that is at a tumor sites, which can be detected by imaging the radiography. In recent years, single photon emission computer tomography cameras are used to give a more sensitive three-dimensional appearance of spots localized by radio-labeled monoclonal antibodies. Mainly, the myocardial infarction, atherosclerosis disease, and DVT disease can be diagnosed by using the monoclonal antibodies. Next one is the direct use of monoclonal antibodies as therapeutic agents. That is the another applications of the monoclonal antibodies. In destroying disease-causing organisms, monoclonal antibodies promote efficient opsonization of pathogenic organisms by coating with antibody and enhance phagocytosis. In the immunosuppression of organ transplantation also, the monoclonal antibodies are used. In the normal medical practice, immunosuppressive drugs such as cyclosporine and prednisone are administered to overcome the rejection of organ transplant. In recent years, monoclonal antibodies specific to T lymphocyte surface antigens are being used for this purpose. This is the another applications of the monoclonal antibodies. The monoclonal antibodies are used to treat against the cancer cells. That is, the antibodies binds to cancer cells and destroy them via different pathways. This is the another applications of the monoclonal antibody, which is used for the treatment of the AIDS. That is, the monoclonal antibodies contains the two portion, that is FAB portion and the FC portion. The FC portion of the monoclonal antibodies combines with the CD4 molecule of the human, and this combination recognize the infected virus infected cells along with the glycoprotein 120, and this combination will destroy the virus infected cells, and that is which is used for the treatment against the HIV. This slide shows the monoclonal antibody application for targeting the agents. That is, by using the monoclonal antibody, the inactive form of the drugs can be converted to the active form. That is, the drug can combine with the monoclonal antibody and targeted the specific cell. After that, the inactive form of the pro-drugs can be converted to the drug. For example, the alkaline phosphatase used for the conversion of phosphate pro-drugs to active form. Likewise, carboxypeptidase for the converting of the inactive form of carboxyl pro-drugs to active drugs. Lactamase for hydrolyzing B-lactam ring containing antibiotics. This is the another application of the monoclonal antibodies, which is used for the dissolution of the blood clots. Fibrin is the main compound involved in the blood clotting. The fibrin can be dissolved by using the monoclonal antibody. That is, the monoclonal antibody combines with the tissue plasma activator. The tissue plasma activator and monoclonal antibody used as a therapeutic agent for a dissolution of the fibrin by converting plasminogen to plasmin. After the conversion of the plasminogen to plasmin, the fibrin clot is dissolved. As a result, the blood clotting is converted to the dissolved form. Next one is the drug delivery through liposomes coupled to specific tissue monoclonal antibodies. Liposomes are sacs or vesicles formed spontaneously when certain lipid molecules are exposed to aqueous environment. Drug entrapped in liposomes that are coated with monoclonal antibodies directed against tissue-specific antigens are being tried for drug delivery. Unfortunately, the progress in this approach has been limited since such liposomes do not reach the target cells. That is, they are retained mostly in the liver and in the spleen and degraded. Next application is protein purification. That is, monoclonal antibodies can be used for the purification of protein against which was raised. In this process, the monoclonal antibodies or column can be prepared by combining the monoclonal antibody with the cyanogen bromide. Activated Sapphoros, that is chromatographic matrix, is prepared. This immobilized monoclonal antibody is very useful for the purification of protein by immunoaffinity method. There are certain disadvantages of using monoclonal antibody for protein purification. These included the specificity of monoclonal antibody to bind to the desired protein, which is very efficient elution from the chromatographic column, and high degree of purification. That's all about the production of the monoclonal antibodies. Thank you.